Well, welcome to Sunburnt Souls. Today is going to be fun because I am here with Dr. Ash Moreland. Dr. Ash, or my friend Ash, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm going good. I've got a coffee. What you might not see from the cup is that inside this is instant coffee, Ash. I have been quite negligent in managing my stimulant intake as a person with bipolar, and I have to start cutting a lot back, so I'm starting with caffeine. I've got my special cup, but you might not see this. It's got an elephant on it, and it's got significance. But I don't know if it's good significance. It could be like kind of like insulting significance, because Jess went to a shop and there was a sale on all these animal, like mugs, and she chose one for all of the members of the family. So there were all these majestic animals like lions and eagles and funny ones like monkeys or whatever else. And she got me an elephant and didn't really qualify why. So maybe that's something we can get into later.
Well, I'm going to absolutely, completely annihilate any street cred that I might have and tell you that I drink instant coffee every day.
Every day.
Every
By
day.
choice?
Oh,
Are
it's
you
just
like
so easy,
fasting?
honestly. It's just easy. It's easy, it's fast, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does function. I mean, it's got the caffeine in it, so I guess there's that side of things.
And it's really predictable. We're going to talk a lot today about the nervous system. And I don't particularly love an instant coffee. Like it might be a 3 out of 10,
Mm.
but it's a consistent three. And consistency equals safety to the nervous system. So when we can accurately predict something, that prediction produces dopamine.
Yeah.
And so I say all the time, I also love 7-Eleven coffees because it's $2.50 and it's exactly the same 100% of the time. Whereas you can go to, I live in Melbourne, so it's amazing coffee in Melbourne, but it's hit and miss. So you could go to the same cafe and get a 10 out of 10 coffee one day, but then it's a 7 the next. And that unpredictability and hit and miss nature is like a deal breaker to my nervous system.
Oh, I bet. And especially when they're $7.50 for each one, the good
Yeah,
one or the bad one.
exactly.
Tell
It's a
us about this.
gamble.
Oh, man.
Look,
Ash, one thing I've,
I'm impulsive and I like
oh,
taking risks and I'm a highly excitable person, but I also really, really like consistency and I don't like to gamble on my coffee at the
yeah.
expense of $7.50 a cup.
I mean, I get it. Like, I know the coffee side of things is important. We get the coffee side of things, but the nervous system, right? You've been hacking away at figuring out the nervous system for a really long time.
Yeah.
So just for anyone listening, like, you're not new to this. Like, you did your PhD in this, didn't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so my PhD was in neuroplasticity. I had a really long history of mental health challenges, and I really just thought, you know what? I'd done 20 years of talk therapy, I'd done all the meds and all that sort of stuff. And I just thought if I can rewire the brain, then surely I can fix this. And it actually gave me more questions than answers in many ways. Um, but it did give me some really, really big insights as I was doing my PhD in neuroplasticity. One of the things was the revelation that the brain and the mind are not the same thing. And I know there are many, many, many highly influential Christians out there who use Romans 12:2 and the science of neuroplasticity as evidence. Oh, look, science is proving neuroplasticity. See, neuroplasticity is the evidence for what the Bible's saying in Romans 12:2. But what they're missing is that actually the mind and the brain are not the same thing. The brain is like the hardware, but the mind is the software. It's the programs, it's the code. And the brain is physical. We can measure it. It only exists here and now, but our mind is metaphysical. So our mind is actually more related to our soul. And so, as a neuroscientist, and I also want to be transparent here that when I was doing my PhD, I was not a Christian.
Mm.
So I used to joke that science was my religion, that I was married to science, that I very, very much just felt safe in what I could prove and what I could measure and what I could see. So I didn't have a whole lot of frame of reference of the metaphysical aspects of life and the spiritual aspects of life. But even as a non-Christian, obsessed with tangible evidence in the physical realm, the revelation that the mind and the brain are not the same thing completely changed my life.
Mm.
Because then I went, This is why we can control every single component or characteristic or element of a research study, and people will have completely different results. Some people go up, some people go down, some people have no change. Why? And it's
Mm.
not just genetics. Like we can control to an insane level.
Yeah, right.
Why? And so started to deep dive into that and explore that a whole lot more. And there is another element to my PhD that it taught me, but maybe we can chat about that later if you want to dig
But I
into
mean,
this.
I know sometimes people do a PhD and it ends up just sitting on a shelf, but you then started lecturing on this stuff at uni super young. Like you were right in
Yeah.
it early, hey?
No, I was 16 when I started uni. So I was lecturing by the time I was 20.
Yeah.
And I would have had my PhD by about 23, but then I had two babies, which and
That,
took a full-time job as well. So I delayed that. I just sort of chipped away at it. Eventually graduated from that. I think I finished it in 2025 or thereabouts, 24, 25. Um, but yeah, so I started teaching. I took a real interest in the holistic space again because I had been really, I wouldn't say let down by Western medicine, but it was incomplete. Like, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I felt like I went and there were some areas where I definitely saw progress. And progress when you're coming from rock bottom is very encouraging.
yeah.
It gives you
Yeah.
hope.
You're like, this is great. Yeah.
Yes. And then there was a very, very tangible ceiling to that progress. And when I kept trying harder and trying harder and trying harder, and see, I lost count, Dave, of how many therapists I saw. I saw people in three different states of Australia.
Mm.
Um, and also having to restart a therapeutic relationship again and
Yeah.
again and again, telling them the whole story. I actually think repeating that story embedded it into my identity. Like, this is who I am because that's my story.
Yeah. That's pretty big.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hitting that ceiling just made me go, there has to be more to it than this. Like, I'm not willing to accept this. And I actually got to the point where I went, if this is life, I don't want it.
Mm.
I can't do this. I don't want this.
Yeah. Because it feels like a life sentence. Hey, like if you're not going to get progress, if you're not going to get growth or set free, or is it
Yeah.
just a matter of how many months or years till the next time we start again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was pretty big.
So what instead? Do you know what I mean? Like what does it look like? You know, you talked before about the difference between the brain and the mind and also our nervous systems and all that stuff. I still find all of it so confusing. Firstly, because I failed science at high school, so I don't quite know where the parts are.
Yeah.
And then also why that matters so much today when it comes to like rewiring our thinking and brain and all that.
Yeah. It's such a good point. Look, the easiest way to tell you is to show you.
Okay.
So if you close your eyes, and
Yeah.
I invite anyone, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes, guys. Let's have some wisdom here.
I'll close mine.
But if you are listening, play along. If you close your eyes and just really ground yourself into the moment, take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and let your shoulders drop. Just feel really supported by the chair or the surface beneath you. And then allow your mind to go to something either in the past or in the future that is worrying you or that scared you or that triggered you, that annoyed you. Really go there. Allow your mind to really think about it, to really resonate on it, and just notice what you notice in your body. Even if you notice nothing, that's data. But notice what you notice. And I want you to notice sensations like, is there tension? Is there heat? Is there constriction? Is there tingling? Is there like, what are you noticing and where? Is it in the throat? Is it behind the eyes? Is it in the tummy? If you were to put a color to it, what's the first color that comes to your mind? Without overthinking it, just the very first thing that comes to your mind. And then taking another nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And this time, allow your mind to go to a time, a place, a space where you felt deeply loved and connected. There was joy. It might just be the laughter of your kids. It might be this morning snuggling a loved one just in the quiet early moments of the morning. It might be the last time you were really immersed and swept up in worship, where there was pure love, presence, joy. And just notice what you notice in your body there. What are the sensations you feel? Where do you feel it? If you were to put a color to it, what's the color that comes? And in your own time, you can take another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, just gently open your eyes and come back to the room. And knowing that there is no wrong answer here, everything is just data. But there are some consistencies that I see. And so, do you want to share what came up in your body? Or you don't have to say the story or the scenario or where you went or
Mm.
anything like that. I don't need to know that. But what did you notice in your body?
Yeah, so for at the start, I had just sort of like a pretty achy, aggressive sort of stomach
Yep.
pain. And then you mentioned, what color do you see? And it was like an orange, but not like a good orange like the sun, like a bile orange, like a
Yes.
gross orange. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, but if Sunburnt Souls has helped you or blessed you in any way, can I please ask a favor? Could you please tell somebody about it or repost a link or bring it up over dinner with a mate? As a small podcast, we grow by word of mouth and we don't have a big budget for advertising, but we know there's so many people out there that are walking with their own faith and mental illness, or they're supporting someone else who's also walking with their own mental health issues. It'll cost you about 30 seconds to promote or share a link, but the outcome in someone else's life could really be super positive. So thanks so much. Let's get back to the episode.
Yep. And what about for the next one where there was love, there was
Yeah,
connection?
interestingly, the stomach pain sort of thing left,
Yep.
and it was just replaced by like a nothingness. So I didn't get a nice feeling; it was just a nothing feeling.
Yes.
And that light blue ice kind of color, like
Yeah,
ice, but like a
beautiful.
glacier sort of thing.
Yeah, awesome.
Mm,
That's amazing. And so this is really common, right? So the answers that I usually hear is when our mind goes either back to a painful experience or forward to something that hasn't even happened yet, but that we're worried about. That signals to our brain that there is something that's happening in the here and now. It's not. You were still in the same chair the entire time, right? But your brain is responsible for contracting muscles, for
mm,
changing your heart rate, for regulating your body temperature. Like all of these physical flesh meat suit functions are driven by the brain, which is why neuroscientists like me got so excited going, oh my gosh, well, if we want to change how the body's functioning, then we need to rewire the brain,
mm,
which logically sounds like so much sense. However, what I just showed you is that actually your brain was still in the same head in the same moment with the flesh meat suit. It was simply responding to the code and the input in which we gave it.
mm,
And so your mind, I could have asked you to go and imagine your sixth birthday. Now, for some people, they had an amazing sixth birthday where they were loved, they were spoiled, they were seen, they were celebrated, and they would have felt these expansive chest opening sensations, and they would have felt emotions of like joy and happiness and love and gratitude. But then if someone else had a horrible sixth birthday where no one showed up and people forgot and their, I don't know, dad got cranky or whatever, their body is going to respond in the threat-based way, which is going
mm,
to be constriction. Often we see things like this, shoulders come up, our chest closes, Why? Because we're guarding. We're
Mm,
protecting and guarding. We have these postures in our body. Our heart rate will start to increase. Why? Because we need to pump more blood to evade a threat. It's going to send blood flow to our limbs, which is moving blood away from our belly, which is why
mm,
we often have sensations and stuff happening in our tummy. And so our body is extremely intuitive. And when, like, obviously, I am Christian now. And when I think about how God created our body and how we've been kind of indoctrinated to demonize these things that are simply signals,
mm,
right? So if I experienced suffocating anxiety for so many years and I was taught that that was a problem, that that was a bad thing, and it was demonized like it was something I had to fix. But actually, God created our nervous system and created our body to be intuitive and to communicate with us and to have relationship with us. And so if I'm getting those signals and I'm noticing that when I walk into a room with people who have authority, my shoulders come up and my heart starts racing and my belly feels a bit sick. Well, my body's communicating with me in that moment.
mm.
And it's communicating something based on some code that's existing in my mind. And that code can be tied up to emotion. So it might be fear is a really common one. So anxiety is most, I talk about fear files. I have a anxiety specific program specifically that leads people through understanding what their fear files are. It might be fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of judgment, fear of missing out, fear of failing, fear of letting people down. If those fears are coded into our mind, then our mind is going to be instructing the brain to look for anything that might result in one of those things that we are perceiving as a threat.
Yeah.
And so that means that, if I have some relational wounding and I enter into a new relationship, I might be super functional. I might have an amazing job. I might be a great parent. But if I enter into a relationship and there is a potential that that person might reject me, my body is going to start sending me signals to go, this feels really unsafe. This feels really threatening.
Yeah.
But
Mm,
logically, we know that it's not. Logically, we know that we want to have a healthy relationship. We want to feel love. We want to love someone else and receive love back. But if our mind has had, well, if we have had past experiences where love was painful,
mm,
maybe we learned that love just leaves. Maybe we learned that love condemns or judges or is unkind and impatient and hurtful. Then, when we're presented with this invitation to experience love that we so desperately want, our mind goes, oh, last time we did that, that really hurt. Let's not
yeah.
do that again. And so it's going to start telling our brain threat, 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 which somatically in our body is going to give us signals. But B, it's also going to drive our behaviors, which will be survival behaviors. So we might pick a fight with someone because if we pick a fight, it creates distance.
Mm,
And if there's distance, then we're safe. Our heart's being guarded.
yeah.
We might make ourselves so busy with work and build this empire of a business and lie to ourselves that we're doing it for our family while our family are being further and further distanced, going, we don't want the millions of dollars, we just want you,
Mm,
you know? And so it can play out in lots of different survival behaviors. But my job is to look at the tangible evidence that we see, both in the lived experience and sensations in the body, but also the patterns of behavior, the relational dynamics, the way that we show up, when we speak up, when we're quiet, what our ambitions are, what our drives are, so that we can understand, is this coming from a place of safety, from overflow, from God's innate design, or is this coming from a space of fear and having to prove ourselves and pain and trauma from our past, or even patterns and programs from society or
mm.
whatever?
I'm
So,
glad humans like you exist in the world, Ash, because I lean into my inner Homer Simpson a bit where I don't know if you remember that episode, his brain's giving him grief. And he goes, "Shut up, brain, or I'll stab you with a Q-tip." And I'm like, that's what I want to do. Because I get, I guess I get, I don't know what I don't know, I get something worn out, fatigued, something at these things coming up so much that I just wish there was some sort of stab the brain with a stick thing and it'd
Yeah.
be done.
Yep.
But it doesn't. It does, like even before when you said, how your anxieties are part of the design. Like I'm like, I get it. I just wish it wasn't the case, but it is.
Yeah. And it's really like I have to be so careful, Dave, because I don't want people to hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying God gave us anxiety.
That's right.
What I'm saying is that God gave us an intuitive nervous system. He gave us a mind, a soul that is made in the likeness and image of Him.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have alarm bells and signals to actually bring to our awareness where we're actually coming out of alignment with His divine plan and His divine blueprint for our identity, for our calling, for our purpose, our mission, our impact, could you imagine how off track we would be?
Oh,
Like I
mate.
look at this all the time and go, oh man, I've got anxiety heading into this. Like I can feel these signals of anxiousness heading into this meeting. A perfect example that's just coming to my mind right now. A couple of years ago, I was doing a keynote for a business coaching group, and they had a big event. There were probably, I don't know, 100 or 200 business owners. And I was feeling really, really anxious heading in. I had made this perfect presentation. I had rehearsed it. It was all my genius and my intelligence and magic. I'd rehearsed it. It was perfect. And the day before, I was so stressed. I was snapping at my kids.
Mm,
I was rushing. I get rushy. That's a flight response. I rush around and stomp around and do things fast when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and stressed. And so that's a signal to my family that not that they've done anything wrong, but that actually I'm not okay in that moment and that there's something coming up for me. And one of the things that I do, my husband's used to this now because I speak to myself a lot. I'm speaking to God. But I laid down on the bed and I just said, God, what do I need to know? What do you want to say to me to break off this anxiety? And he said, you're not there to perform.
mm,
You're treating this like a performance. And the reason you're afraid of their judgment is because you think you have to perform for them. You don't.
mm.
You just have to be who I created you to be. Because when you get yourself out of it, when you be who I created you to be and let me speak through you, the right people are going to get the right message at the right time.
Yeah.
And literally, I was like, oh man, it broke off this need to perform and this need for it to be perfect and this need for it to go a certain
And
way.
it did? It actually lifted it off?
Totally, completely
Nice.
100% broke off me. But the next thing that happened, which I think was actually a bit of a sense of humor thing from God, while I was sitting there was a speaker before me, and then I'm preparing to go up, and I heard the words burn it down. And I was like, sorry, what? Burn it down. And so I went up and I said to the AV guys, I'm like, hey, slight change of plans. I don't think we're going with the presentation that I've given you. And I'm getting on stage in like 3 minutes. And I said, just trust me.
Mm,
So we had a flip chart and some pens, and I just spoke for like 2 hours or however long I was speaking that day. I just spoke for 2 hours, and all these people were crying. They were coming up to me. They were like, oh my gosh.
mm,
And I had no idea what had just come out of my mouth. I could not tell you what
mm.
I taught on, what I spoke about that day. And I was so calm because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And that was like, it's a big lesson in trying to do things my way versus surrendering and letting God have his way in me
Mm,
for his good. And it's the same therapeutically, right? Like I have so many people say to me, Ash, can you run practitioner training? Because I want to learn how to do what you do. And I'm like, well, I kind of could, but what I can't do is facilitate your relationship with God clinically because this isn't me. I can't heal anyone. I can't
yeah.
fix anyone. I can't do anything other than let God's wisdom actually come through me to know how to meet someone in any given moment and how to lead them closer to Him.
Yeah.
So,
It's so huge, Ash. Like it's so huge. There's so many questions. That I would love to ask if we had that 2 hours you had on the stage. I would have loved to see you go hard for 2 hours, by the way. I bet there was no like drink breaks or toilet breaks or anything either.
Oh, no
You
way.
just went straight
No, no,
through.
no. Yeah. But so I run a group program that goes for 10 weeks and the sessions are 3 hours. So it actually goes for a year, but the intensive therapeutic stuff where we do nervous system regulation, we process intergenerational trauma, we do emotional intelligence work, we do identity work, we do all this stuff. And when I say to people the sessions are 3 hours at a time, they're like, 3 hours? I can't even sit down long enough to watch a movie. And without fail, every time people will sit there and go, oh my gosh, have we been going for 3 hours? Is this due to finish already?
Yeah.
Because the time flies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the topics you just said you cover in that workshop, like intergenerational trauma and PTSD and stuff. I suppose I just encourage anyone who's listening who's tried talk therapies and all those things, and God bless it all, but wants to try a bit of a different approach. Ash, what would be the best way? I would say that, one hour session's not going to be enough. Like, do you do courses in this, or what would be the best way for people to start? I think for me, because we're mates, I've been able to kind of get an understanding of the framework of the nervous system and how that relates to the soul and body and everything else. But it has taken a while because for
Mhm.
you got to sit in a PhD for however many years. Do you know what I mean? But for the rest of us that might be still, figuring out even the terminology, where can we send them?
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting, Dave, because I get people who reach out to me saying things like, "Oh, no, I just want to work one-on-one. Can you work one-on-one?" Or, "Oh, no, I don't want to do group work," or whatever. And the thing is, understanding the nervous system means that I'm very intentional about everything that I do. When I work one-on-one with someone, we're working in the parts of the brain that are me, myself, and I. The issue with working one on one is that we are bypassing the parts of the brain where our social engagement systems live.
Mm.
And so, one of the accidental findings of my PhD was I was pregnant with my first child during the data collection phase, and I had to run interventions, but I was on a deadline. I couldn't run one-on-one
Mm.
interventions for 12 weeks and then do all the testing. I didn't have time. So what I did out of not because I was a genius, just because logistically this is what I had to do, is I grouped everyone and they had to come in and do all their sessions together. But we found results of neuroplasticity that had never been replicated in the literature. And the only thing that I can put it down to is the one mediating factor of neuroplasticity is dopamine. We can get dopamine either off the back of cortisol, our threat centers, i.e., we need to get a kick, we need to have something to activate us in those threatening situations. But we can also get dopamine off the back of oxytocin, which is our connection hormone. And by doing things in a group program, what it did is it activated their social engagement systems in a really healthy and safe way, which then I'm assuming, I didn't measure it, but this is my hypothesis, increases oxytocin, which gave them the dopamine their brain needed to reorganize itself. And so when it comes to, for example, one-off trauma, a car accident, an isolated event, maybe a threat to physical safety, assault, things like that, that's just an individual experience. That's a me, myself, and I thing. So I can do that work one-on-one very effectively and very fast. Like I can help someone to overcome PTSD in a couple of hours. That's it. However, when it comes to relational trauma, when it comes to, growing up in a home where you felt unseen, unheard, unloved, when you learned at a young age that you relative to others are not enough, or you're too much, or you can't do anything right, or you're not safe, you don't belong, that's social engagement system wounding. And so the only way to heal social engagement system wounding is to give it healthy, safe, relational experiences that activate the social engagement system.
Mm.
I can't do that one on one. And so one on one can be really, really helpful. But in a group setting, for that really, really ideal gold standard intensive work in the relational space, relationship with self and others, the group program is the gold standard place to do it. But I also acknowledge that there is a significant investment in doing those intensive programs. Like that's a year-long thing. It's
Mm.
30 hours over 10 weeks for the intensive therapeutic stuff, and then we integrate for a year. So the other thing that I did is I created basically systemized all my processes for a specific issue. So I used the anxiety program earlier as an example. And what I did is I went, okay, so how would I work someone through this? If I had 100 people, what would my process be? And I systemized it into online courses. So there's videos, there's workbooks, there's everything from how your brain works, the difference between your brain and your mind, how to identify what are the programs and beliefs and emotions and stuff in your own mind. That's all led through the course.
Yeah.
But then we have community on the back end to catch you so that then you can actually show up and share and be a part of something. So those online courses are as little as 11 US dollars a week. Like they're so accessible
Mm.
globally if you speak English. Because not everyone has the capacity financially or
Yeah.
even time-wise to do a big intensive program. So look, the starting point is dependent on where people are at, what they need out of it. But ultimately, the best place to start is just to reach out to us and we can, at Remind,
Yeah.
to partner with you to figure out what your best step is and
That's
how to
cool.
get you
Yeah,
where you want to be.
Remind Institute. If you Google it, you'll find it's RE/MIND
Oh,
in
hyphen,
capitals. Oh, not hyphen. What do you call it? Not slash. That thing.
hyphen.
The fallen over slash the hyphen. But
I'll
I'll put
stick it
all
in the
the
show notes.
yeah, that's it. I'll put all the links and
Yeah.
everything in the show
Yeah.
notes.
And
Ash,
I guess the other place, Dave, is we've got I run a free group. It's called Cycle Breakers. It's Cycle Breakers Emotional and Relational Mastery. That's on Facebook. And I teach in there for free every single week. We have a pattern of brain training
mm,
around, what are your three things you're grateful for today? What's your one word intention for the week? Like it's really helping people to frame their mind more positively to be looking at the world and
yeah,
their life differently.
and
So
that's
that's
free, you
free
said.
and
That's cool.
available. Yeah.
Yeah. Ash, it's a tease because I had to cut back the podcast to half an hour. And there's no way on earth I think you've ever spoken as short as half an hour in your whole life. I know. And I say that with all the love and endearment in the world. I respect you so much. If you have gotten anything out of this chat, I strongly recommend stalk Dr. Ash Morland on Facebook and everything else because her stuff is quality and it works. I mean, I'll be honest, since this is a vulnerable podcast, she's helping me with some stuff at the moment in my own well-being, and it's working. It's helping. And so I would never get anyone on Sunburnt Souls that we didn't 100% back and believe in. So
Mhm.
if you want to catch up with her, mate, she's awesome. And yeah, I don't know, Ash. I suppose the only question I have is, can you maybe drop your last pearl of wisdom on us and pray for us as we're finished for today?
Absolutely. So I would say the biggest thing that my journey in my own healing and in supporting others in theirs has taught me is that who we are today in our dysfunction, in our chronic, nervous system dysregulation and behavioral dysfunctions and vulnerabilities and all that stuff is who we had to become. It's who we adapted to become in order to survive, in order to be liked, in order to be enough, in order to be good enough. But it's not who God created us to be. It's who we adapted ourselves to become because of the
Mm,
world and the experiences that we had, our family of origin and everything else. So I would say my last little pearl is entering a journey of unbecoming who you had to become to be enough or who you thought you had to become. And actually coming home to who God created you to be is going to be the most liberating, freeing experience of your life because only then can you actually fulfill the purpose and calling upon your life.
mm. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Dr. Ash, thank you, my friend. Pray us out of here, and we have been blessed by your company. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity to chat with Dave and chat so openly and just to bless the people listening with some new revelations that they might not have come across or might not have experienced before. And Lord, I just pray that anyone who's listening has felt really seen and witnessed and understood in our conversation today. And I just pray that everyone who is listening and beyond, Lord, that we as humanity can start to see ourselves the way that you see us, that we can start to love ourselves the way that you love us, because only then can we start to love others the way that you truly love them as well. Thank you, Lord. Bless us and send us on our way. Amen.
Amen.